Palladium's go up again. Oh, that's a killing field. Those Lings don't want to be there. The Hellions getting good shots off, trying to break through regardless, but the Thors are up, the SCVs are up. That was a complete failure of an attack from Life.
Oh man, for once someone gets their depots up before the Lings surround everything.
That's
and
so
of
rare.
course it's Flash who does it there. Life has to be sad about that.
Yeah, definitely, and he lost so much. I mean, he committed the Lings right into the narrowest, fieriest choke point he could possibly go into. The Hellions got great shots off. There's now even enough Vikings to scare that small muta count.
Yeah, it's time for Life to actually figure something else out here. He can't stay on mutas right now. Maybe he can switch back in later on, but for now there's enough anti-mute attack, and it looks like... I wonder if he's actually going to go straight into Swarm Host here.
Well, he does have the Infester coming out, the Infestation Pit, and I can't see him going Infestors against this. There's no reason to. It won't do anything. And with the +1 ranged attack, I'd say that's a really good bet. And with the creep spread, taking a 4th base against a mech army, you can make that work, and that's exactly what's happening. We've got Swarm Hosts on the way here. We don't see that from Life that often.
No, in fact, he's someone that when he goes Swarm Host, I get a little bit nervous. You know, there's Muta players and there's Swarm Host players. For instance, a Muta player, Jaedong. A Muta player, I think Life. A Swarm Host player, well, that's Stefano for you, right? Like, some people are good with one tech route, some people are good with the other, and I don't know how good Life is actually going to be able to manage this with Swarm Hosts.
Yeah, I do have my doubts, I've got to say, but I'm constantly surprised when Koreans that generally don't use Swarm Hosts kind of pop it out and are able to use it very effectively, especially if they can attack from multiple angles. There are vulnerable points on this map that you can exploit. You can, say, break down those back rocks and then threaten from the high ground with some Swarm Hosts kind of placed over to the side there. You can threaten from the other side too. And Life is looking to set up things like run-bys and combine that with Swarm Host and just keep control of this map. And it could work, especially if his economy keeps going the way that it is.
Yeah, you know, Swarm Hosts are just good overall on this map in the very late game because you can choke up everything in the center like we've seen countless times from players like Stefano. But to get to that position can be pretty tough. And, you know, if you're a really good Terran mech player, really on top of things as Flash is, in the late game, you're going to have a bunch of Ravens. And Point Defense Drone is a good counter to Swarm Hosts.
That is very true. And I have to wonder just how long Flash will want to hang around and whether or not he will attempt to do some harass. So, you know, he does have Hellions, he does have Hellbats. Harass is a very real possibility. If you don't want to fight on the front line, then go behind the lines. You've got the option to do that. Or just march out before you feel your opponent's got that Swarm Host critical mass. And, well, I'd say there's only 15. There's 15 on the map right now. So, we'll see. If he gets enough tanks, maybe he makes that work and he slowly pushes the Swarm Host back. But it's so costly. It actually infuriates me as a Terran to see things die to units that don't cost anything.
Oh, yeah, it's actually, for me, too, it's like this mental block that I just run from Locusts all the time. I see all these Protoss that just kill them off and move forward. No, if I see them, I get out of there, because I can't be losing stuff to freeness, right?
No,
it's
I mean, that's inefficient. Oh, it's infinite inefficiency.
Yes.
It's like you play Hearthstone and you just give them cards. Like, no, you would never do that, and that's the same thing that happens when Locusts run into units that actually cost you money. So the hope is that Flash can set up a good enough tank line to make sure the Locusts don't actually touch anything. So far it's okay, but of course it could very easily be overwhelmed if he's not careful.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to add in a lot of siege tanks, siege up quite a few here. And the way this game is going, I think he is going to have to tech up into Ravens. I don't know that he actually wants to try to push this before then.
We've got the Planetary Fortress at the front here. That is the best fortified command center I've ever seen. There's so many guns available there. But look at the creep spread of Life. I mean, he's already at the 4th here, which is so useful for these Swarm Hosts.
Well, Life is definitely showing us that he has that late game potential as well. He's not just an aggressive Zerg. He can do absolutely anything, a full range of play. And look at the map. He is taking so many bases, and as you said, that creep spread's crazy.
Yeah, why not? It's not like Flash is leaving his side of the map right now. We talked about harass potential, but right now he's only thinking about his... Oh, hello. Triple starport coming out here from Flash. This... dare I say it?
I think we're gonna see a bunch of Ravens and Vikings. He's got to get that air swarm going, because if he doesn't, things like what we see right now are going to continue to happen. A lot of mutas doing some harassment at that third base. Not the most damage, but the thing is, in a game like this, oftentimes it goes to the last mineral.
Yep, that is true. So far, Flash has got Fort Flash up on the 4th base there, and he's a 4-base Terran, and the mutas haven't done much. The Viking count is actually getting so high, and it's got +3 air weapons as well, that the mutas are a bit scared. Usually they wouldn't be, but man, you know, those are Vikings that are hitting twice for extreme damage, and there are so many turrets going up here for Flash. He is fortifying. He says, "Oh, you wanna play turtle? I can turtle. I'm really good at oh my god, those mutas just got obliterated. Six gone from the sky immediately there. So crazy."
Well, in the meantime, we do have some Blue Flame Hellions going up and roasting some of these mineral lines at least.
Oh, he's heading for another one too. He's hitting twice.
Yeah. Look at that. He's actually dealing some damage to this economy, but if you look at the Bank of Life and his supply count, these don't hurt nearly as much as they would in a normal TVZ, because he's just going to remake those drones, and Flash can't really attack anytime soon anyways.
No, he's trying that big Sky Terran transition. Life getting very aggressive with his swarm hosts. He's bringing them right up to the ramp here. He says, "Oh, right, well, you've got a fortress on the 4th. I'm going to attack the natural from the back then, and I'm pretty sure you can't hold that." Well, Flash actually has a lot of tanks, so maybe he can, but he will certainly take some damage.
Yeah, and any damage that you get is going to be useful in the long term here.
Yep.
He wants to just whittle Flash down, even if he's only killing a tank now and then. Hey, that's a tank now and then, and really right now, Life isn't losing anything, except for, you know, a little bit to harassment.
Yeah, just a little bit. We've seen Flash kill 30 workers up to this point, which sounds crazy, but it doesn't matter. Life's still on 74, because he's not having to pay for most of these units, and that allows him to build things like Vipers in the background and get quadruple upgrades, actually. He's upgrading air weapons and melee weapons and air carapace and burrow and range weapon level 3. Because he can. He has the gas to make that happen.
Yeah. Why not get chitinous plating? You know, maybe you're going to make an Ultralisk and 30 queens later. It could happen. We've seen that. So, you know, this is the time of the game where Zerg gets every single upgrade and really just tries to start maximizing efficiency.
This is a pretty cool way to play Swarm Host, I gotta say. Life, along with a lot of the high-tier Korean players, don't just sit there with a ball of Swarm Hosts and attack. They get a decent number, they move them around, they attack from different angles, they try and find weaknesses. They use the Swarm Host to draw the army out of position. Flash, on the other hand, of course, is going for that big Sky Terran build, and once he's got enough Ravens, things are going to get very interesting.
It certainly is. He's going to shut down all of these attacks, and the thing is, how do you attack into this as well? It's very, very difficult, especially with all of these Vipers and Spores. It's going to be hard to move forward.
Yeah, it really will be. Flash is turtling very well, but that does pretty much hand the rest of the map to Life. So, unless you're heavily harassing, which, to be fair, he has been, you're still in a tough spot. You can't just sit there.
No, you can't sit there forever. Like, I guess in a big map, you might be able to let Zerg have a total net 2 bases more than you, but even that's going to be really hard to fight back from, even with mech, because Zerg can be so cost efficient as well. So Flash eventually does have to get up and start moving.
Yeah, building armor and high-sec auto-tracking. Brilliant. We just need to see a little bit of Neo Steel going on here, and then things get very interesting.
Yeah, that's just the greatest upgrade ever, the Neo Steel reinforcements. More and more missile turrets going up. Flash starting a missile turret push to max the Spore Crawler push that we see from Life. And Totalbiscuit, I hope you have nowhere to be today, because this game looks like it's going to go on a long, long time.
Indeed, although it won't if Life keeps throwing those Muta packs right into +3 Thors. That's just, you just saw them melt away. If they get a couple more volleys, that's going to be brutal. And even the Vipers won't survive long against firepower of that magnitude. So we will see what Flash can do here. He brings the Vikings out. A Thor gets abducted, but 2 more brothers in the back put out a good volley of missiles. And, oh, it's going to happen.
Oh, and look at this. He pops up those infestors. A beautiful fungal growth going off. He really wants to chain fungal these ravens to death.
He really does.
Instead, oh god, he lost all of those infestors.
He did indeed, which means that the ability to lock those units down is gone, and fungal doesn't do that much damage. They can get fixed up. This area is almost unassaultable. We are talking about 3 or 4 PDDs along with infinite Vikings which, as it turns out, is pretty good. They are one-shotting Corruptors.
Yeah, they certainly are. Life has to hightail it out of there.
Oh, he turned around
oh
on top of the
my God.
Ravens, and Flash, so slow to respond, loses a bunch of them.
Yeah, he's got to be careful about that. And you know what? That was pretty brave from Flash as well, because if there had been one Infestor over there, that would have changed everything.
Yes. Yeah, they were so bunched up. That would have shut those Ravens down completely. And it's not even a case of just having to rebuild the Ravens and sinking a lot of gas into them. It's a case of having to rebuild the energy, which takes forever.
It really does, and it's such a pain. You know, gas is oftentimes a limiting factor in a game like this. But hold on, we actually have Ling and Ultra rushing the siege tank line.
And Flash, honestly, spread his siege tank line a little bit thin and allowed a lot of them to die. The beautiful fungal again from Life on both of those groups of Terran air units, but they don't die.
Wow, I thought that was a really nice attack from Life, but at the end of the day, Mech just so cost efficient here. Thing is, he's taking a lot of damage.
Oh, the Swarm hosts eat 4 Seeker missiles right in the center.
Ooh. This is just brutal, man. You know, these games, a lot of times people just sit there, but these two are going at it right now.
I love it. This is brilliant. This is maybe the best game involving Swarm hosts I've ever seen. And if more games like this happened, I think I'd love the Swarm hosts more than I do. And, wow, Flash is going to repair those air units. Good God, look at the Vikings. Most of those are flying with one wing with a bunch of holes through the cockpit.
Yeah, I don't even know how they stay in the air at this point, but he has got to keep those alive. That air ball is the most important thing in this game right now. It's the most... It's like the most clumped up, expensive group of units that basically you can get in this matchup.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And the siege tank line is good enough to stop the small number of locusts. I mean, it's only 13 swarm hosts now on the map. The mutas are finding their way around the side, but I mean, the turret count is actually silly. So Life is really not going to be able to make that happen. Somehow the Banshee gets through the cloud of mutalisks. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But, yeah, the mutas are not going to do anything. At least not to the mineral lines.
Yeah, not right now. You know, he was actually a little bit slow in getting up to +3 carapace. Because at +3 carapace, they actually killed turrets, like, pretty darn well. But as of this moment, I would hold off on mutas until he has those great upgrades so he can be even more efficient.
Yeah, so let's look at his army composition right now. What is he trying to do? It's a bit mixed. You know, he has a bunch of ultras, but he doesn't have the lings to back them up. He has 6 infestors. He's got a decent swarm host count. He's got a bunch of mutalisks. It's just a bit mixed up right now.
Yeah, this is like a really kind of spattered, haphazard group of units. Like, the thing is, if Flash did a very dedicated, straightforward attack, he'd have to lose a bunch of his army before he could make a good army to actually hit him heads up, because these units don't even necessarily fight well together. They're like the swarm host to keep Flash back, and then 5 ultras for some reason, and then mutas for harassment. You know, it's just it's not a very coherent composition.
No. If we do, we'll do the count, by the way. 44 missile turrets, 45 missile turrets. Oh, pop goes the weasel. One of the infestors does go down there. Versus 21 spore crawlers. I've got to say, when it comes down to the air, Flash has got this on lockdown.
Yeah, he certainly does. By the way, a little update, 47 missile turrets now.
Wow.
We'll continue to check in throughout the game. He continues to make more and more. It's just crazy. But you know what? He's taken almost half the map now, but Life, very importantly, is trying to take that base on the right-hand side, and that is something Flash does not want to have happen.
Can he stop it? Well, frankly, yes. Auto turrets. Lots and lots of auto turrets. And they say, oh, you want to come near this? Well, you're going to get a lot of Seeker missiles. The auto turrets are up, and they have building armor, Artosis.
Oh, they certainly do. He's got just about every upgrade that there is right now for Terran. The mutas come in, try to fix this up, but I don't know if the mutas want to fight against a mass Raven Viking hull.
No, and this hatchery, I think, is actually going to maybe possibly die if Flash decides to click on it, which is what he's currently trying to do. And hell, the Banshee might even kill it, but a bunch of Seeker missiles being fired off, they will not connect, so that's a bit of wasted energy there. But the Banshee finishes the hatchery.
Well, that's the important part, right? If Life actually mined a whole bunch from that base, then he gets a lot more resources from Flash, because that's actually on Flash's half of the map. So as long as Flash can hold that and be really cost efficient, he's going to be in good shape. Because really it's Life that has to go and eventually kill him.
Yeah. Flash attempting to send a peace treaty across the map with a few SCVs, unfortunately not well received, with a diplomatic incident between these two. But he just wants a bigger army. I mean, he is going all mule right now. All he needs is gas and a lot of mules. And his... Let's see how many command centers he's got. He has... lots. He has quite a few. 9 orbitals.
Wow. 9 orbitals, 3 planetaries, and a regular command center just for good measure.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Maybe he hasn't decided yet what he wants that one to be. But in the meantime, Life building a bunch of spores over on the right-hand side of the map, but Flash making a move towards the left.
Yeah, and he's got that nice high ground position. He can attack. He is destroying our sponsor logo right here, which, now, with a game this good, I think we can accept that.
Well, you know what? If he kills all the creep there, I guess we can see it even maybe a little bit more cleanly. So that's
Absolutely.
nice. Maybe he's doing us a favor there.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, those are tanks out of position, but the mutas are... Well, he manages to pull off one with an abduct, but the mutas don't want to go anywhere near that airball, and I don't really blame him at all. And Flash is just bringing the heavy artillery towards the front. 25 siege tanks, 20 Ravens, and 13 Vikings, all almost fully upgraded. He's about to finish +3 air armor, for God's sake.
Yeah, he's about to have everything all set. Continuing to push here. Those Vipers actually getting a lot of value, but overall, Flash is winning this push on this side of the map.
Yep, slowly but surely, and he's got the money to make it work. I mean, Life, of course, has a bunch of money as well, but at this point, these tanks are just acquitting themselves so very, very well, and the PDDs are preventing the Locusts from really killing them.
They are, and this is tough because every time he tries to move in with his ball of Mutas and Vipers, the ball of Ravens and Vikings move in, and against that, he needs his infestors, and he just doesn't have them over on that side of the map.
No, he doesn't, and he just lost his hatchery to the right-hand side again to Banshee harass. It turns out 3-3 Banshees hit pretty hard, even against Spore Crawlers, and he was able to get out of there. Another hatchery falls, and Flash is slowly but surely pushing back the Zerg Horde.
Yeah, he wants to be out of this group. He's got other stuff to do today.
Oh, a couple of hits there. Man, that could have been way messier, but just in time, Life pulls back from the Seekers.
Well, you know what? This setup from Flash is just so beautiful. I love the way that he's playing this game out. Just keeping a gigantic siege tank count. He's been around 20 to 24 siege tanks for the longest time, and other than that, just focusing heavily on Vikings and Ravens, keeping point defense drones up and pushing the missile turrets. This is like, it's so well done, and I feel like Life just doesn't even know how to deal with this.
More SCVs being offered to the sacrificial pit as Flash says, you know what I want? More Ravens! Let's keep building Ravens. He has the bank to make that happen. His tank count is still at 21. His airball is still scary. Life is losing base after base after base. This one to the side has been re-established, but Banshee harass continues. I think this time it is going to stay up for a while. Those Banshees are pretty badly injured. But he's starting to mine out to the top right. His natural obviously is gone. His third is gone. His fourth base is kind of getting there. So slowly but surely Life is starting to run out of places to go.
Yeah, you know, he's got to keep one of these side bases. If Flash can keep both these side bases from mining out fully, then basically that's what he needs to do to win the game. Zerg needs to suck up the resources at those, or he's never going to be able to break Flash. Flash continues to cost efficiently knock them down. So Life realizes he's really got to commit to holding one of these, and it looks like it's the right side that he's trying.
Well, the tanks say absolutely not. There are so many. The Ultras crash into the tank lines, but +3 tanks. That tank has 67 kills! He continues to push forward. Now he takes the high ground. That base is never going to live. It's not going to happen. God has decreed it.
Well, he is bringing his wrath over there at the moment, killing that off, and this brings Life down so low in bases. This is really, really painful. He's actually mining less than Flash is right now from less bases in a long mech game. That's really bad news.
The 11th commandment, Flash decrees, thou shalt not mine, and he places a huge siege tank line to the right of this base here, and I mean, these infestors can't go anywhere near this, and I feel he's like nicely managed to flank around where the swarm hosts actually are. Like, the swarm hosts are in really awkward positions, they can't effectively engage that.
No, they certainly cannot. He's trying to move over right now with his Muta and Viper Ball against these Siege Tanks, but the Raven and Viking count come up. He's got 30 Ravens right now. Absolute madness. But if he can catch some fungals on that, he can still turn this game around.
He can. He researched Neural Parasite. He's never used it this entire time. I can't imagine a good situation where he could pull that off. I mean, if he did, it would be the biggest turnaround I've seen in a very long time. Auto turrets come down to defend the siege tank line, but of course, infested Terrans being out of the fungal! It's huge! Can he follow it? Can he follow it? Another one! Another one! There's one more! Flash! Oh! They're all gonna go down! So much damage! The mutants come in!
So many point defense
what?
Everywhere! Oh!
How? The Spore Crawler's gonna kill, like, 5 Ravens on the way back. The mutants come in from the side. More PDDs put down. Flash down to 19 Ravens, but he's still living. He lived through the fungal. He's still fighting. He lost so much supply in doing that. He's actually taken out his bank there. Life may have broken him.
I have the sickest children. He almost killed all those Ravens, but not quite. Oh, he kept a lot of them alive, but as you say, life may have broken him there. That was so important to kill off that many siege tanks, that many Ravens. It's huge.
Yeah.
And if you look at the bank, Flash is just about out of minerals.
Yeah, he is. And he's muling hard at that left planetary fortress, and it's about to run out. And once it does, he has nowhere to go. More tanks pulled out for free. A couple of mutas maybe fall down. The airball comes to some... Oh my god. When one fungal kills all of those Ravens, every last bloody one of them, he's got to be incredibly careful here.
Thing is, he doesn't have the money to repair everything and rebuild his tank count, but he needs to get some tanks in there. So... he's playing it risky right now. He's playing it close to the belt, and I don't know if that's going to work out for him because life still feels like he's in a pretty comfortable position despite losing so many hatches.
The one thing I'm very worried about for life is he's committing heavily to Muta, but there's 5 Thors at a time coming out with +3 here for Flash. If he runs into that, and especially if that's combined with a Hunter-Seeker missile or 2, then again this game turns around.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, but again, if there's like a fungal, if he maybe uses Neural and, you know, a Seeker missile on Flash's own army, stuff like that can just end the game straight up. Flash cannot afford to lose his flying ball at all anymore.
Well, Flash just found himself another base. He's taken the one to the right, and he's most likely going to mule hammer that thing heavily with every orbital command he has. A rain of steel from the sky here. And now he wants to try and hold it. And he's got 5 Thors with +3. He's got a lot of tanks. He's building missile turrets. And this will be his new Fort Flash. Can he hold on to it?
Well, he absolutely has to. This is the most important part of this game right now. He has to hold on. If life breaks here, he'll just go ahead and kill him. But life, will he try to break there? Or will he destroy everything else on the map? Because he could kill the whole left-hand side of the map, and there's really not a whole lot Flash can do because the right-hand side is so important.
And when it comes to that, you might think, well, there's a lot of minerals gone, and that doesn't really matter so much, but it's still gas mining that is going to be involved in replacing the lost Ravens. And at this kind of super late-game stage, you do kind of need those energy units. And life, of course, is going to try and take out this base. This base is basically done for. I mean, there are some minerals, though. He could very easily mule that. So losing that planetary would actually suck more than I thought. He is out of gas at that base. But that's still a lot of, you know, it's like 4,000 minerals. He could still, actually, more like 6,000 he could mine from there. That's a lot of minerals.
Yeah, and let's not forget that that's an area that zones out the Zerg as well. That gives him some more room to come in the backside and hit Flash from multiple angles, and Flash doesn't want that. But right now we have actually Zerglings sent over to kill off a huge amount of missile turrets. Yeah. You know, we hit 67 at some point, but oh man, he has fallen so low. Just 37 missile turrets left over.
These Hellions are comically tough right now with +3 armor, I've got to say. They're not even Hellbats, but they're acting like it. The planetary plus this much. I mean, this base is, at this point, I feel completely unassailable. So, we're getting back to the same situation. You know, Flash was so far down supply, now he's back up to where life is. They're both running on low economy, 28 drones to 30 SCVs, and of course 12 mules on the field as well, so the income of Flash is actually spiked to 2,500 minerals a minute. Seeker missiles being deployed, but unfortunately not really connecting. Kills a queen or two, but this game has reached yet another Mexican standoff.
It certainly has. This is such a ridiculous spot with all those point defense drones already up. Countless locusts have gone to their deaths here. But they really do basically no damage with.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what happens in Mech vs Swarm Host. Point defense drone against locusts is like never ending.
Very much so, especially once you put durable materials in there. It's something that most people don't even bother to research at any point, but it allows these point defense drones to hang around for many, many minutes and recharge their energy. So that's absolutely key. And this position does look, at this point, pretty much unbreakable. And here's what Flash is doing, which is very interesting, because he's seen a lot of Lings coming out. He's trying to reestablish map control with Blue Flame Hellions.
Well, you know, there's quite a few spawns around, and those mutas continue to fly around, so they're trying to stop that, because at this point, you know, Life doesn't really want to lose this base on the left-hand side of the map. That's really important that he mines that completely out, so that he can finish this game off, because really, this is Flash's last base on the right. Flash already knows that. This is Life's last base on the left, and he already knows that. So we're in, like, we're in the Judgment Day phase of God versus Life.
Indeed we are. Now, this is the rapture going on right here. We will read from the Book of Revelation. And at this point, I can't even say which way it's going to go. I mean, I'm still feeling Flash here, but one mistake is all it takes.
Well, he's got those Ravens back up to full health, so it's going to take a while to chain fungal those back down. We'll see
especially
if
with only 5 infestors.
Or Jadong. I said that's how epic this is that I accidentally just called Life Jadong, just to throw that out there. Anyways, we have these fungals coming up. They're not that good or not that bad.
Fungaling tanks doesn't make much difference. They've got the health to take that, and I mean, he's only got 3 infestors left. He used a bunch of fungal energy to not kill ravens, which seems to me to be a critical problem. He's hunting them down. I'm loving this. Flash using the Blue Flame Hellions to hunt the remaining infestors. There's only 1 left at this point.
Yeah, that was really well done, but it looks like we are going to have Life go ahead and grab a few more infestors out here. He's got to keep that infestor count up, because it's really these renewable units, such as the Swarm Hosts with their locusts and the fungal growths from the infestors. That's how he has to win this game overall. He has to be super cost efficient with those against Flash, who, as we see, is losing almost no units.
Yeah, it's incredible, really, when you think about it. Usually you see the Swarm Host player losing almost no units, but Flash has found the Terran answer, and he is playing it really, really well. You know, it's like he almost plays one of these every day, which can't possibly be true, but it's like a second skin to him. He's playing this very naturally indeed.
Yeah, he's really showing that he is a master of the mech army. Life, in the meantime, I bet you almost any other mech player in the world, maybe even any other mech player in the world, Life would have already broken through, especially after he got those Ravens solo. But the fact that Flash kept a bunch of them alive and has re-maxed out and is re-pushing the map, it just speaks to his skill.
That is such a powerful army that is slowly marching across the map. Hunter-Seeker missiles, of course, will be key to this engagement. PDDs will be key. Life is looking to try and make it happen somehow, but it is looking less and less likely, and Flash looks very hard to break here.
Yeah, that's a tough composition to actually end up breaking through. With that many Thors especially, like, you can't even think about going into mass mutas. And oh, that was brutal.
Why did you have to say that?
I know, right? I'm like, well, one thing you can't do is go near this with mutas. Cue Life flying towards it with mutas. Ouch. Ouch.
That was, jeez, that was just like watching Psystorm and a group of stationary, unshielded Marines. That was horrendous. They melted from the sky, and the lack of mobility there with a smaller muta count. I don't even know if it almost seems like you have to have the Mutalisks against this just to break the ground army, but simultaneously, that's such a large liability.
Yeah, it's really tough, man. We have 9 more spores on the way. He's just setting up a whole nother area of the map that's going to take forever to push through. I think what Life's plan is here is to just keep buying time as much as he can to wait for Flash to make some sort of small mistake that he can capitalize on.
Yeah.
Because that's all it's going to
before.
take.
Yeah.
It did. It did happen once. It could happen again.
Yep. Another fungal goes down, but it seems like Flash has been a bit more careful. He's keeping his Ravens further towards the back. He did lose a Viking, which definitely sucks. I mean, his Viking count's actually down pretty low, but I feel with 8 Thors and that many Ravens, he actually doesn't care so much for that anymore. He's even adding more Thors into the composition here.
You know, he's so low on gas right now, Flashes, which is so funny because normally, Terran, you look at the end of the game when they're almost out of everything and they have no minerals and about 7,000 gas.